nothing to hide. Stifle or smother, suffered and cried. Strife made me tough and never mothered or shy. To trouble I rise above them. Expectations forget rep. Ain't never begged yet when I wanted to get pens. Hustle.
My Indie Kitchen experience was great. It wasn't until yesterday evening when I came to rehearse with Louis, who plays guitar, and Katie, who does BVs and sings for me, that we realised we have never actually done an acoustic set before. The only thing we ever done acoustically was Read All About It, and that was in Australia, and it was only once. So this was quite nerve-wracking. It was a very intimate setting. There were loads of people gathered around the wonderful cakes that Claire had cooked. And I felt like the pressure was on. I don't get nervous about much, but yeah, definitely a little bit of pressure, but it was good. It was really fun once we got into it. I managed to forget the words to Read All About it. Well, we can forget all about that, and it never really happened. We can delete all that footage, right?
We can.
Good, good, good. Stripping everything back is cool, I think, because it gives people a chance to really hear what I'm saying. There's less going on around it, and there's less to be missed. People can really focus on what's being said and what's being sung. So although I performed in the kitchen today, that's not actually the weirdest place I've performed. The weirdest place I've ever performed was at a nightclub, which doesn't sound that weird, but it was in a wrestling ring. A good friend of mine, Rufus, had put on this crazy event. At one point in his life, Rufus has got a lot of stories. He's done an awful lot. And at one point he was managing a wrestler, and he put on a wrestling match at the launch of a new season of his clothing company, Second Son. And I was the person performing, and I performed inside the wrestling ring when there was a wrestling match, but not while it was taking place, thankfully. Otherwise I'd have beat him up. I never try and make the same song twice, let alone the same album, and I think that's probably just what separates all the albums from each other, and especially this one, because there's been quite a long gap between this and the last one, whereas the first two were almost back to back. It's been 2 years since I released the record, and a lot's happened in that time, and it's given me a lot of time to really focus on the music. It's a growth, I think. You know, I think there'll be people who say, oh, but it doesn't sound like the last record, because people get used to hearing something. They listen to it so much that their initial thought is if anything sounds different, it's not as good. But I think there'll be a lot of people that are pleasantly surprised. It's my favourite of the three. That's a big statement. Scary saying that. See, I'm married now, so if you would have asked me what the first item I packed for tour before was, it probably would have been condoms. And antibiotics, but now earplugs. They're a necessity on the tour bus. It's not the easiest place to sleep unless you pass out drunk, which I never do, because I don't, you know, I'm not an advocate of alcohol. I don't believe in drinking anything with alcohol in it ever. So yeah, earplugs. What would be my killer recipe? I make a really, really good roast dinner. It's not really meat specific. I do well at all of them. That's my little specialty. Probably like cider lamb. I love to do a slow cooked lamb in cider. Yeah, dry cider vinegar, loads of shallots. What are you gonna say, Felix?
Brandy chicken, bro.
The brandy chicken?
In the pan.
Oh yeah, that's always yeah. I bought a griddle pan recently. Well, actually, my wife bought a griddle pan, and it changed my life. You get it nice and hot. You get a good chicken breast from the butchers with the skin still on it and the wing still attached to it. Skin side down after you've seasoned it. Turn it over once the skin's crisp, and then you move it into the oven at about 220 degrees. Good stuff. The best advice I've been given, probably in my musical career as well as life, was from my favourite UK rapper, Skinny Man, and he just told me that a true friend will never be of hindrance to you. I think that's pretty good advice.